Chapter 21, Disaster Tea and Revelations. I think this is it. I think there's like one or two, maybe three more chapters. Welcome back. It's good to see you both again. I think I remember his voice, and I think I did it well. With your enthusiasm, innkeeper, we bring tales of disaster. I don't mind a little disaster in my tales. After all, you tell them so well.
She really does.
As do you, Clay.
Thank you. I hope my stories are as good as your drinks.
They are to me. Speaking of which, can I offer you a drink in exchange for a little insight into your disasters?
That'd be great.
Something that feels strong and magic-y, right?
You remembered. Yes, that one, please.
Coming right up. You want fight drink. I'm gonna give him cursed coffee. This is the first time I've been able to serve this. What do? I want to throw something in it. Can I throw this in there? Little purple drink. And then we just pile in the violence juice. Oh yeah. This is the best. Something tasty and strong, but hopefully not disastrous.
Very tasty, very strong. You've really got the best drinks around.
Happy to hear that, Clay. Tia, you're bursting at the seams. How were the archives?
Fun!
Were they? Mayhaps. The bleak stalkers were... bleak? Cute. Cute?
Very. Jade told us where to find the entrance to the archives. But when we got there, we found it surrounded by bleak stalkers.
They were quite numerous, and so shaped.
I decided to ask them if they could let us through.
And I thought he might need some help with that. So I called on your honey flowers and I extended my divine light to him. It made him glow softly, and they all flocked to him like moths to a gentle flame. Did you know they have velvet wings and they can pull into their bodies? I didn't. That's fascinating.
They were so cuddly and showed off their crawling skills in exchange for carrots. I asked them if they'd like to be our tour guides, and they were so excited. They'd never been tour guides before at first I thought it'd involve eating people.
I might have acted a bit standoffish when trying to correct their misconception. Clay was then able to convey the message much better. He's very good at explaining things. I think he really understands people. And that helps him meet them where they're at.
I try to. Everyone has their own way of understanding things. I think it's beautiful.
I envy your empathetic approach to life, Clay.
Thank you. But you've got your own strengths. Like how you're the master of strategy, or how you're good at making people feel safe.
I suppose we make a great team. The best, I might say.
We made a great team with the bleak stalkers, too. They led us right into the archives, which is huge.
Large parts of the Everbloom had collapsed, but even the explorable sections were unbelievably spacious. Lurking while you try to sleep, I appreciate it, Julia. Have a good sleep. We had no time for a proper tour, unfortunately. We had to make it up back in time for the barbecue after all. That meant we had to be efficient during our search. Though we did take a break to admire the artist hall the creatures excitedly led us to. We found abandoned pottery equipment that had distracted us a little too much. Using more time than was perhaps appropriate, we modeled tiny versions of the little critters as a gift to them.
They love them.
Afterwards, we split up to cover more ground. Each of us was guided by a group of bleak stalkers. A dangerous choice. That's when the monsters get to you. That's what Clay said, so I enchanted the friendship bracelets. That way, they would always sense in which direction the other person was located. So neither of us would get lost.
It was so smart.
It was very useful. I see you kept yours on. I did.
They really helped us navigating around the archives too. It's a beautiful place, you know. I mean, everything's overgrown with vines or withered and full of termites. But we could still tell how much care had gone into building it. Some of the tree branches still had leaves on them. And I saw a couple of stubborn lotus daisies trying to break through around the rocks. I taught the bleak stalkers how to water them. They loved drinking out of the watering can. But they also enjoyed sharing their water with the lotus daisies. Hopefully they'll grow stronger again soon.
What a shame all that effort went into building the archives was for nothing.
But it wasn't. It meant something to someone once. And I could still feel the love in it. Even during our visit, maybe it'll even bloom again. It's called the Everbloom, right? Like forever? I wonder who named it. We should go back sometime and see if we can find any information about the archivists. I bet they know some great drinking games.
Perhaps we should honor their contributions by studying the knowledge they left behind.
Why not both? They should be people first and symbols second.
Oh, yes. I guess both would work too. Good idea, Clay. What else did you find in the archives, besides friends? And the beauty of, and horrors of time, I mean.
I got a little distracted when I asked our new friends to point me towards the cooking section. It was so vast. I found so many new bread recipes I can't wait to try out. I also found something for you.
For me?
Yes, a recipe from a book of mixology. First I thought about taking the whole thing along, but it was a giant tome, and the bleak stalkers were so attached to it. So I ripped out a page that looked the most interesting.
Oh, don't do that. We thought it would fit your repertoire. I think it does. Thank you very much. What do we get? Finally, a Dex drink. The Last Whisper. It's got a skull on it. Love it. As for me, I asked them to lead me towards the dangerous knowledge and soon found myself in the hidden study. The bleak stalkers didn't want to go inside, like they were scared of its contents. So I rewarded them with some treats and ventured inside. It was a complete mess full of scriptures, scrolls, and written ramblings that would be forbidden these days. A little exciting. And worrying. The papers I was able to translate spoke of the apocalypse, the end of it all. There was research on the roots of the Aether Tree and how to unbind them, written in the shaking hands in fading ink. Was this the most scholarly or mad scientist type of research? Hard to tell. The lines tend to blur with blasphemy.
Do you know about the Aether Tree? Because Tia gave me a whole presentation about it.
I wouldn't mind a refresher.
It's a giant tree.
Good start.
A world tree. That means our world rests on it. Around it? On it? In it? Somewhere.
In it, mostly. Depends who you ask.
The dragon guards the tree because they created it? Maybe. Definitely because they care for us. And since we live in it, it should keep existing as it does now, because no one wants their house to crumble. A lot of people would get hurt if something happened to everyone's home.
That's true. But luckily for us, damaging the Aether Tree isn't possible. It's larger than we could ever imagine. To us, it's more of a concept than a tree. And the dragons defend it. Despite their oath of neutrality, they're not easy foes. There is one way. The sigils of Alcahest. The what now? The sigils of Alcahest. They're the key to destroying the Aether Tree, according to the scrolls I studied under the Archivist's candlelight. Some sort of spell? More of a manual of self-fulfilling prophecy, a way to break the cosmos in accordance to its own rules. For the tree to crumble, its foundation must be fractured. The 5 sigils of Alcahest represent the 5 dragons, each of which must be damaged to topple the world's balance. Only then can our cosmos reshape itself. The scroll spoke of experiments for creating a sigil. Unsuccessful experiments. That's reassuring. Not quite. They were only unsuccessful back then. Next to the notes of old, I found others written on cleaner, newer parchment with unfaded ink. Much of it was incomprehensible, written in languages I've never seen before. But various sketches of the whales caught my eyes, as did the altered frostbite scrolls. It sounds unsettlingly familiar. I fear that the starfall broke the sigil. By ripping holes in Cassiopeia's wings, it destabilized her flight. If she's damaged any further, time could be sent into disarray. Meanwhile, the tsunami, like I heard, didn't just plague the archives. The waves broke down barriers between the primordial sea and the twilight chasm in ways never seen before. So that's 2 broken sigils. That's not good. What an incredible understatement. Witness one such sigil fracture would be anxiety-inducing enough. Knowing it happened to 2 will keep me up many nights. It's not 2, it's 3. 3? Alongside the notes, I found an old map with fresh markings. All the names were outdated, but the intention was clear, marked with the 5 interplanar portals. 30 years ago, their sudden appearance tore fissures into Gaia. I believe they were the first sigil.
Bad, right?
Very. Who could have done this? I don't know. And why, of all things? If the Aether Tree collapsed, or even shifted from its perfect balance, the destruction would end us all.
Who would want that?
No one thinking rationally, that's for sure. Did your skull just shiver? Okay, just checking.
They might have a good reason for it. Maybe we can talk them out of it.
I doubt it. Me too. Whoever it may be that's causing this, they only have 2 sigils left. She almost went Kermit. Would be quite bad, right? Don't they say that waking the Elder Dragon will start the apocalypse? They do.
I feel like there's too many ways to start the apocalypse.
Maybe they're all connected, and waking will break the last sigil. Although, I'd like to think breaking all the sigils is indeed impossible. Because it's impossible to reach Tuat in the spirit realm, correct? It's not exactly impossible. I can make it to the spirit dragon via the astral sea at the dawn of the dying moon.
That's in 5 days, right?
Yes, but worry not. To reach such a specific location within the astral realm, very specific rituals are necessary. And Gaia's portal to Cassiopeia is indispensable. Said portals is located in and safely protected by Aperture, the stronghold of the Order of Starlight, and its rituals must be performed with outstanding accuracy to withstand the treacherous astral currents. Only the highest ranking members of the Order are privy to this knowledge, and I guarantee you, all of us would rather die than aid in the destruction of this world. If the rest of them are half as steady as you are, I think we're well protected. Exactly. That's good then. The rest is worse. What's bad is that we don't know who's behind this. Or why. By the dragons in the endless horizon, anyone who would desire something so vile can already sense your next quest. But can I offer you a drink first? Your throat must be dry from all that exposition. I wouldn't say no to a drink. Perhaps something that will keep my mind intact, defended from lunacy. Feel like I'm going mad. Say no more. She wants that defense drink. You give her a frosty one. Can I put frostbite cones in there? No, I can't. What about Lotus? Lotus. Some Sunny D. No purple drink this time. Delicious defense against the absurdity of evil plots. Thank you. This makes me feel a little less conspiratorial. Conspiratorial. I needed a breather.
You know what else would make for a great breather?
Babel's barbecue?
Exactly.
You're right. That would be quite pleasant right now. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think the barbecue is happening today. Babel hasn't returned from their quest yet.
Oh. What quest are they on?
Finding Melina.
But we just saw Melly on the way here.
Perhaps they found another quest while out. Heroism can be quite infectious like that. Innkeep, what kind of drink did you mix them? None.
Maybe we should go look for them.
Maybe so. Please do. No one has seen them in days. The last thing I said to them, I'd hate for those words to be the last. Please help me find them. Of course. I'm sure they could slay any monsters without us, but some extra hands couldn't hurt.
But you'll have to deliver your apologies yourself.
I'll slay that beast when it comes to it. Very well. But first we must solve our urgent sigil problem. I feel like we're missing one piece. A piece of what? What was his voice? A piece of... a piece of what? Cake?
I'd like...
I think I like this one.
I'd like to order my usual cake, innkeeper.
I don't serve cake. Never have. I wonder... Is that too close to Clay's voice?
Oh, maybe you should.
Yeah, it's too close.
Another delicious delicacy would be...
Also still no blood.
Oh, the sorrow I'm feeling almost equals the grief I felt after the vampire glitter competition of 1389.
Oh?
I had run out of glitter.
I could serve you one of my usual drinks to alleviate some of that heartache.
That would be splendid. I'd like something to enhance my immortal strength. No shopping bags shall hold me back today.
I'll see what I can do. Let's give him a super violence drink. Is it purple drink? No, that's alright. Hang on. I want to give him coffee. Oh, it was purple drink. A purple drink. And a little more violence juice. Coffee for everyone. Here. With all the strength of a raging fire. Thank you, dear innkeeper.
My blood is boiling with euphoria.
Any particular reason for your shopping trip?
A very particular one, dear innkeeper.
Yeah, the Kermit voice isn't really doing it for him.
It is a matter of life and death. I must head out to purchase this wondrous sustenance known as comfort food immediately.
Do you know what comfort food is?
I haven't the slightest idea. But it is rumored to restore you mortals back to your full health. I'm afraid Rhea will perish should she not receive it.
That sounds serious. Has she fallen ill?
A fatal case of something called being in the zone. I assume it's highly dangerous. She's refusing to move away from her drawing board for over a year now. She even threw me out of the room upstairs when I offered her a blood pellet snack. How will her body handle another year without food?
I have some good news for you. Rhea hasn't been sketching for a year. You guys checked in yesterday.
How fortunate.
And as for your legendary item, you should ask her about it. Generally, everybody has a different idea of what they consider comfort food.
How wondrous.
Though something tells me you should give her some time before you go back upstairs to ask.
Why?
Call it intuition.
I don't think intuition is a very good name, innkeeper.
Want to help me find a better one?
Of course. I'll think of one before the next 80 years are up.
Thank you.
I shall remain for a while. Once I have acquired the correct comfort food, I will make sure my friend eats every last bite. Like a vampiric mother hen and her vampiric chick. I didn't know they were vampire chickens.
They aren't. Do you know that for certain? Do you know that for certain?
Yes. I could have sworn the ones at my family's estate had fangs.
Chickens can't develop teeth.
And here I thought we were comrades in blood hunger. Chickens are still fascinating all on their own. Do you know they have very colorful dreams?
Oh, that's nice.
I once helped a wild hen with her dream journal. I'll introduce you to sometime. My favorite thing about chickens is that they purr when they're happy.
What charming creatures.
I could learn more if they I could learn the more they... The more I could learn, the more I learn, the more they remind me of vampires.
Ugh. Forgot how to read.
So simple, so sweet, and ferocious, yet their origin harbors one of the greatest mysteries of life. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? The egg.
The egg. Not going to weigh in? I am intellectually withdrawing myself from this conversation.
But unlike this mystery, I do not know how vampires were created.
Would you mind elaborating? Aren't you intellectually withdrawing? As a cleric of Cassiopeia, humility is a lifelong objective I stride towards. As such, I must admit when I need to concede words spoken in haste, which would be now, I suppose. Please, Kyle, if you wouldn't mind expanding on what you just said.
Certainly.
It must have been 5 centuries ago when the scholars stole some of the immortal blood of the dragons. The scholar offered it to Queen Annabeth, who became the vampire's monarch. I've never heard of Queen Annabeth. I think that was just a plot of a really challenging board game, Kyle.
Oh, you're right.
So then, Mike wasn't real Mike was real after all? Mike? Yes, it's all coming back to me now. The first vampire that walked this world was the famous Mikael.
But most of us call him Mike.
He had a very close connection to the spirit dragon in his domain. Eventually, Mike struck a deal with Tuat. In exchange for guarding the dragon's realm, he would get to live forever. That didn't work out, I guess.
Well, Mike didn't read the fine print. The spirit dragon turned out to be a trickster. Tuat turned him into a new form of undead creature, invulnerable to age and disease, but still weak to the blade. Blood was the only thing he could stomach to consume. And with time, even sunlight became intolerable. Mike was no longer welcome amongst the living, but the dead didn't want him either. And that's how the first vampire was created.
Fascinating. There's so little I know about the spirit dragon and his realm. Kyle, just how do you possess knowledge that's considered ancient by today's standards?
What knowledge?
The knowledge you just told us about.
Ah, I stumbled upon it in a grimoire I bought it the other day at the local bookstore.
No, that was the vampire romance book Carolyn recommended to you. Try again.
But of course! Dear Evelyn was such a historic fanatic. How could I not pick up on a few stories? That was one of her favorites. I still dream of her deathly beautiful countenance as she narrated tales until the intruders stopped screaming. She always told us of the story of the progenitor Mike so softly. She would cradle a vial of his blood, and her tone would turn so reverent. A secret to share with me, she would say. Oh. I didn't mean to break the last oath between us as well.
I'm sure we can help you keep the secret, right?
A secret between new friends.
If secrecy is how we can repay you for sharing this with us, then so be it. Since you seem to be very close to her, I wanted to let you know. We traveled past Marrow Castle on our way back. It looked awfully damaged. The destruction looked so fresh. If only we had passed by earlier. They even spot a heavily armored silhouette a short distance away from what remained of the castle walls. We hurried over as quickly as possible, but the shadow was gone by the time we got there. As it was, only the rubble remained.
Was my dear Evelyn unharmed? We don't know. The castle looked abandoned like a ruin. My Evelyn. A horrid fiend could have inflicted such damage. She must have fought back fiercely.
May her opponent suffer twice the damage that they inflicted upon her. But I wouldn't give to know her safe. I think I need to go ask Rhea about her comfort food. Let's give him some time to come with terms with what he just learned.